fastest show in sports.
We are on the verge of next year creating one of the most insulting sporting events and sporting locations in the history of this country.
UFC is planning a massive event at the White House on July 4th, 2026, to mark America's 250th birthday. And tonight, UFC CEO Dana White shared renderings of the event during a Fox News interview with Bret Baier.
It's going to be under 5,000 people. It depends on how much the lawn can hold. As far as weight, the octagon itself weighs 15,000 pounds. So we don't know. We're still working it out. And my vision for this thing is we have this big arch, as you can see, with the lighting grid, because what I want is the White House in the back. And then when you shoot, when the fight goes around to the other side, you'll see the Washington Monument. At first he put Ivanka in charge of handling this thing and putting it together. And when we sent the plans over to Ivanka, she said, "Dana, you do not mess around."
I'll say. Dana White says the event will seat under 5,000 people near the octagon. But another area nearby could hold up to 85,000 fans.
We can fit 85,000 people over there. We're going to have a stage where music, we'll have bands playing all day, and then people will be able to bring blankets and, lay around and watch the fights. We'll have screens up everywhere for everybody. We're literally going to take over Washington, D.C. that week. We're going to do the weigh-ins there. We're going to have fan events.
At the Lincoln Memorial.
That's what we're talking about, yeah.
Look, let's be honest. I don't like the UFC. I don't like MMA. I don't watch any of their fights. I'm a boxing guy. I'm old school that way, and I like my boxing. I think that MMA and UFC is nothing more than human cockfighting. And as a matter of fact, if you're a boxing aficionado, you know that there's not an MMA fighter in the world, pound for pound, who could stand with a technical boxer. Boxing is a sport that needs skill, that needs finesse, that needs so much more than just bludgeoning somebody. And when you get somebody on the ground and you're pounding away, that's not a sport. That's assault. That's assault with a deadly weapon. Okay, but that's just me. I get it. Look, don't come at me full hammer and tong here, because I don't like UFC. I don't. At the same breath, this is insulting. This is turning the White House into a carnival show. This is creating an atmosphere of a circus where the American government has its seat of authority and seat of respect. This is the White House that holds the seat of government. This is Washington, D.C., that is involved in class and style and showing the world what we can do. But instead, we're going to put a big ring right in front of the White House, and we're going to have men and women beating the shit out of each other just so that Dana White and others can make a ton of money, an inordinate amount of money, and guaranteed there's going to be other people, some politicians in there as well, that are going to make a lot of money on the backside of this. This is nothing more than a scam. If you want to have the event in Washington, D.C., okay, I'm fine with that. Have it at a stadium. Have it where the Commanders play. Do something else, but don't do it in front of the White House. And a weigh-in in front of the Lincoln Memorial, one of the most sacred places that we have in America today, the place that speaks to the Constitution, speaks to Americans, speaks to the need for freedom. We're going to have that in front of the Lincoln Memorial? Are you serious? It's wrong. It's just wrong. Have the event. I'm okay with it. But it's an insult to me. It's an insult to Americans. It's an insult to our armed services. It's an insult to the people who have died for this country to know that their national monuments are going to be turned into nothing more than a shake and bake change to go ahead and try and make fighters a lot of money, make one guy a tremendous amount of money, and keep a president tied to his base. It's wrong. It shouldn't be allowed. But then again, I'm talking to the breeze here because I don't make these decisions. Neither do you. These are made by Donald Trump and Dana White and their friends. I get it. But to put this sideshow, this bloody affair on the lawn of the White House is insulting to America. And I think we should take it as a personal insult. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. It's going to be there. The only thing that we can do about it is not watch it. I won't watch. But then again, I know that there's a lot of people out there who are dying for this. You want this to happen because you want to be able to say, I was there, or I saw it, or we were at the White House. It's the same thing as those fans at the Ryder Cup that are screaming at the Europeans. It's the ugly American. And putting a UFC match, any sort of sporting event, but specifically a fight, a bare-knuckle fight on the grounds of the White House is an appalling misuse of power.
Ed Berliner, the fastest show in sports.